Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View on this fine Sunday morning. Sunday morning, up with the lark, champions again, ole, ole. Now, let me just get this out there first of all. I do not condone violence and I do not condone pitch invasions, and I'm sorry that I wasn't around yesterday. There was someone that commented about half a dozen times on the channel saying it's absolutely ridiculous that I didn't come back online and do a podcast, even though I ran over the watch along about half an hour after it. But it doesn't matter, does it? There's always crazies out there. But anyway, good morning to everyone in the chat. I'm going to name drop a few people that are up early this Sunday morning. Jim F, Liam Fisher coming in from the other side of the world as he's got a cracker straight off. I'm going to go into some of the comments before we kick straight off. Wilfred Nancy has as many winners' medals as James Tavernier. It's ironic. Big shout out to Liam, who comes in from the other side of the world. Jim, John, the Scottish gamer, and John, and everyone else, including Stephen Johnston. And yeah, there's loads of comments already. Yesterday was all about emotion. I did say that yesterday was going to be a historic day, no matter who won the league. Celtic, well, they won it 3-1. Let's face it. I mean, that last goal for Celtic was absolutely unbelievable. The scenes as we saw it, let's just talk as we saw it, first of all. The scenes as we saw it, there were crazy scenes on the pitch. Okay. I did put a little, I'm going to go through some of the videos that are online. And it's amazing the amount of people that pop up on your Twitter feed that you have no idea who they are, but they're very political motivated. And in a time where they tell Celtic fans particularly to keep politics out of football. Yeah, they tell fans all the time, keep politics out of football, they say. And then you've got this Dan McCroskey. I have no idea who he is, but when you click on his profile, he's political advisor and media commentator, occasionally on TV and radio. A season ticket to the most world's successful team, Rangers FC. Says it all. No more. I don't need to say any more. Don't know, he's somebody that's politically motivated. We're told to keep politics out of football. Stop commenting on football then, and we'll stop commenting on politics. But anyway, I'm not going down a tit for tat road today. This is an interesting one because this is the scenario that played out on the pitch as we've seen it. Sorry, this is someone that's recorded it from their TV. Now you could see this is the funny part for me, and this is what we didn't know what was really going on. We saw the Hearts buses. You saw the Sky cameras, and you saw the Hearts buses bugger off. We didn't know what went on inside the stadium. We didn't see McInnes smashing the wall inside Celtic Park and him having to get a little bit of plaster, a little bit of work done to his hand before he arrived back at Tynecastle, due to the fact that he lost the plot, aggression, punching things inside Celtic Park, and he came off second best. We saw the buses leave, the two buses leave, and we saw the police escort taking Hearts away. They didn't show us the team getting onto the bus. We didn't realise that they didn't even get showered. They just, Derek McInnes lost the plot in the dressing room and just got everybody straight out. This was before Celtic had even been handed the trophy. They were on their way out of Celtic Park before they were handed the trophy, which is unbelievable. And then Celtic, you've got to give it to Celtic, trolling Ewan Cameron. You'll remember Ewan Cameron, just the radio presenter, who did come out and say, look, Martin O'Neill's a good guy. I interviewed him a lot of times over the years, and you know, he did come out and say there's no way that Celtic are that bad, they're not winning the league. With the sad face, come on to my place, the sticking out. Anyway, let's get on to some more. This is one of the best ones. We do like a little bit of a rabble meltdown. And as I say yesterday, I had everything. History, controversy, and meltdowns. And we need to go over and visit them. And the Rangers rabble meltdown. Let me just make sure that the volume is up for this one, because it's just wait and see what happens.
Celtic have got possession again down the left-hand side with a full-back. He's cutting inside. He's looking for somebody.
Just past the post there for Rangers. I know nobody
And they've
cares.
scored.
Celtic.
Oh no! Hold on. Offside.
Weren't Rangers playing at the same time yesterday? Just asking. I couldn't even tell you the score for the Rangers score until after the game, even though it was down on the bottom hand of the screen. The Rangers score. I can tell you what the score was, but this gets even funnier. You have to watch.
Yeah.
Is it definitely offside?
Well, the flag's up.
They think it's all over.
Flag is up.
It's coming. It's coming. Watch this.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, he's offside. Yeah, Maeda's off.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch.
Well,
here it comes.
Aye, Maeda's offside.
Has it been given, Brian?
I don't know. Hold on. I'll go on mute. Hold on.
Yep.
It doesn't just go on mute. Ha ha! Now that's obsession to the highest level. I mean, they were playing a game yesterday, and he switches his camera off.
Brian's just turned his camera off. That's it. Brian's done. Don't think that can't be offside.
He switches his camera off. That is the ultimate. That is just. He's gone. He's gone. That's it. He's back. Wait a minute.
Goal. Has it been given, Brian? Yeah. Goal. Well. There we go. Well, listen, Hearts pushed them all away. That's all you can say. Raging. Absolutely raging. But Hearts pushed them all away. But what can you do, mate? What can you do?
Glorious. Absolutely glorious. And more of the point that, I mean, they've got their own game going on yesterday at the exact same time as Celtic. And you'd be thinking to yourself, you're going to watch your own last game of the season, aren't you? But he's just focused on Celtic, completely and 100% focused on us, and he's not even watching another game. Anyway, let's get to the evidence. I did say that Derek McInnes was punching walls in Celtic Park. Some people might think I'm making that up, but here is the picture. The evidence. There it is. Derek McInnes with the plaster. So Derek McInnes raging as he comes off the bus in Edinburgh. We did see pictures of the players crying as they come out of Celtic Park. Were they crying because Derek McInnes went through them like a dose of salts? There's a lot of untold stories from yesterday. A lot of hidden stories about the fact that why did Derek McInnes? I mean, you can still see that there's blood coming through the plaster on his hand there. And this isn't AI. This is from a reputable photographer. One of these photographers that go out and take professional photos, and yeah, and it's not AI because you could see the site that it's been taken from. But anyway, kind of says it all, doesn't it? Yeah, and then the narrative will change down to this. Now, I'm going to sort of go jumping back and forward. You can see that the fans are on the pitch. Fans of all ages, and not from any one part of the stadium, it has to be said. There was fans coming on from most of the stands. And you can see the bit here. I'm going to this guy here, when you just watch him, let me just make sure that I've got the arrow. Yeah, you can see this is the guy here to watch. If I could circle him, I would circle him. And he gets closer, he comes up and he's goading them. But look at the foot movement of Shankland, who is here. Now, watch Shanklin. Now, remember Shanklin lost the plot yesterday on the pitch with Dyson Maeda. Lost the plot at the side of the pitch with Dyson Maeda. He, yes, the letter A is the watermark from the site that has been blatantly, taken from. But anyway, get back to Shanklin, who is here. He sees everyone coming onto the pitch, okay? And we're going to play this in slow motion. He instantly, look at the foot movement. Look at that. That's going for all in attack stuff. You know? And then Shanklin goes in. But the narrative is, of course, that I'm not condoning anybody going on the pitch, by the way, but the narrative is that Celtic went on, and it'll be interesting to see if Shanklin is one of the players that allegedly got assaulted. Can you remember the time that Lee Griffiths picked a canister? It was after he left Celtic, wasn't it? Was he not playing for Dundee at the time? After he left Celtic. And he was getting goaded by opposing fans, and they threw a smoke canister onto the pitch. And Lee Griffiths booted the smoke canister back off the pitch into the fans. And Lee Griffiths got he got stick for that, didn't he? I'm not condoning people going on the pitch, like I said, but when you look at this is one of the scenes that Sky decided not to show. I mean, we've seen it at the time, but and then that's it. A lot of fans seeing the fact that the boy runs away after it. To be fair, do you know what I mean? He's just like, get it right up, you. I don't think that he's intentionally away to harm the player. He's just noising them up, saying, we've get it right up you, type thing. Anyway, will anything happen to Lawrence Shankland, or people are saying, why did you go on the pitch? Why did you go on the pitch? Yeah, open your eyes, mate. It's a watermark from who took the picture, Alami. Is there people saying that it's not? Yeah, it's it's an actual photographer. Don't know. I'm just I'm just reading some of the comments as they're coming through. Anyway, that's enough of Shankland this morning, because the meltdowns have been unbelievable. It's people calling for the game to be replayed, people saying that the game was abandoned. Martin O'Neill even said that he didn't realise that he thought there was still time to go on, and it wasn't until Derek McInnes of all people coming up and shaking the hand because he realised that the game was over. Now, I'm not going to comment on anything that happened in the Trongate area because I didn't see it. I wasn't there. There is no point in me commenting on something that I did not see. There was unsavoury scenes. How many of the people were at or in the Trongate area after the game were actually fans that were at the game, and how many, like the police, the police knew that there was going to be Celtic fans there. The police went in heavy. That's all that I'm saying in it. That's all that I'm saying. Don't know. I wasn't there. I was there last year. It was quite peaceful last year when I saw it, but there were some unsavoury scenes yesterday, I believe. That's all that I'm saying. Anyway, moving on. Some of the headlines from around the world. You've got a certain amount of people that are obviously trying to say that Celtic brought the game into disrepute, but there's one thing for sure. What it did do yesterday in becoming champions again, ole ole, for the 56th time in Scottish football. Yes, Celtic are champions for the 56th time. Something that's been kind of overlooked. I said that yesterday was going to be a day of history. History. Yes, there's a picture, but the letter A is on the hand, not a plaster. Do you want a bit about that, mate? Oh Jesus! Anyway, people just can't take the wind up this morning. Anyway, let's move on. When you look at some of the headlines, it's absolutely ridiculous. Please, Scotland issues a statement after full-time scenes at Celtic Park. But the good part is, getting back to football, and that's all I'm going to talk about from now on, is the football. The fact is, Celtic have only one Champions League game, one Champions League qualifier next summer. Yes, this summer coming. So will that have any implications onto who or whom Celtic approached to be the manager of Celtic FC? Martin O'Neill spoke about it yesterday. Martin O'Neill spoke about the fact that he hasn't spoken to Dermot about the vacancy. Dermot didn't ask him to stay on. I'm sure that there'll be little snippets of leaked information come out over the next week or so. Martin O'Neill has one final game left at Celtic, and that is the game against Dunfermline. That'll be a tidy game in itself. And the fact that it is against Neil Lennon, it's like the master against his student. Can Dunfermline upset the odds? I don't think so. I think that this Celtic team are on fire just now. The togetherness within the squad yesterday, the togetherness with the fan base. I think they're going to get a lot of people heading to Hampden, and they'll be fully expecting Martin O'Neill. I've got to admit, yesterday I did say that Hearts would score first, said it before the game. I fully expected Hearts to go first, and then I thought Celtic might win it 2-1. It was 3-1, which was even better. But what does it say for Celtic going forward? Do you know, the game's done and dusted as far as I'm concerned. There will be outcry. There will be crazy headlines for the next couple of days. Police Scotland slam unacceptable hostilities in the Trongate celebrations. One of the funniest bits yesterday was Hibs fans ecstatic about the fact that Hearts lost the league, as you'd expect. Martin O'Neill dropped a major hint about his future after Dermot Desmond talks, meaning that there is no Martin O'Neill next year. And Martin O'Neill says, Chris Sutton asked him after the game, do you think that you would have the physical capability to go a full season? And Martin O'Neill was pretty honest and said that he didn't think that he could. You know, it's not something that he's thought about. Would it be better for Celtic to keep Martin O'Neill for one more year, or fill in a stopgap scenario? I'm not too sure. I give my pros and cons for Martin O'Neill staying the other day in a video, and I think that we'll see what the board, or we'll see what Dermot Desmond decides. I mean, I think that we could, now that we know that we're going into the Champions League, I think that changes everything. I think you'll now get managers going, right, wait a minute, there's only one game for them to get into the Champions League. There was a possibility that we could have finished third. There was a massive possibility just a month ago. Rangers capitulated and just self-imploded after the split. Has to be said. Hearts kept pushing. Everyone outside Celtic wanted Hearts to win. If you're a Rangers, you were wanting Hearts to win. Apart from Hibs, sorry to the Hibs out there, they didn't want Hearts to win, obviously for obvious reasons. But when you look at the potential managers that may have been interested in the Celtic job and went, maybe said to their agent, like, I don't fancy playing in the third tier in Europe. It's a bit of a step backwards. I don't care if it's Celtic. Martin O'Neill has proved that these players do have a fight. Now, yesterday was a momentous day for the likes of Daiz Maeda. I think the biggest shock of the day yesterday was the fact that Rio Hatate was completely excluded from the team. Didn't even make the bench. Rio Hatate, some people were saying that it didn't look like he was even enjoying the celebrations yesterday. He didn't even look as if he wanted to take part. I think that we all know that there are players that will be leaving Celtic in the summer, and there's a massive rebuild. Now, do you put that massive rebuild onto the shoulders of Martin O'Neill, or, as I think that Celtic should do, like they wanted to do in December, was bring in someone that will have a bit of longevity at the club. But can we get someone of a high enough calibre to sustain the sustenance of the Celtic support for even more success? A lot of people say that yesterday Celtic winning was the worst thing that could have happened for Scottish football. I think that it was a game. It came down to the last 5 minutes, and that was it. You know, whether you're a Celtic fan and you agree with the sentiment that is out there with certain parts or the majority of the media that are having complete meltdowns and people saying that the game should be replayed behind closed doors, it's blah, 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 blah. There was less than 10 seconds to go when Celtic scored the goal. And that's why the ref blew the whistle. And what about the fact, and let's put it this way, there was 8 minutes extra time. 8 minutes. It was Hearts' fault that there was 8 minutes extra time. Not Celtic's fault. We'll just leave it at that. Anyway, let's jump into some of the comments this morning. What about the linesman cheating? I think Hatate is known for a while. He won't make the Japan squad, and that's what's humped him. I think that he's not been playing for Japan for around about 8 months or so. I don't know, it's been a while since he has played for Japan. He's not been getting picked when Daizen Maeda's getting picked. You would think that that would be, from a footballer perspective, you think that that would be all the motivation that you would need to get the work done on a daily basis. Do you know, when you look at players like Tony Ralston, who does not get a game every week, but when he is given the opportunity, plays 110%. Do you know, goes through barriers to make sure that he is noticed. And you've got to give it to Tony Ralston. Tony Ralston will be going to the World Cup. Do you know? And maybe Rio Hatate is looking at Tony Ralston and going, you're not playing every week. How are you going to the World Cup? It's all about attitude. And, you know, people saying that I'm due people like Daizen Maeda and Rio Hatate an apology. If they've not had the attitude for a full season, you know, Daizen Maeda gets away with it because he turns up the last 5 or 6 games. Let's be honest here. You know, Daizen Maeda was well worthy of the criticism that he got for the majority of the season. Just wasn't putting a shift in. Didn't look as if he was interested. But then it was interesting when he came out and said, I know I've not been... He admitted himself to the media. He admitted that he wasn't playing his best. That's taking control. You know, so fair play to Daizen Maeda. You know, taking the criticism in hand and then producing the goods. If Rio Hatate had done it on the pitch and produced the goods and upped his game, you'd be talking about Rio Hatate. But sadly, we're talking about Rio Hatate. Looks like he'll be leaving Celtic in the summer and it's going to be going out with a whimper. Annoyed me the pitch invasion. Should have waited to the final whistle. It was unsavoury scenes, but I think it's been exaggerated by the media. It's always going to be the case. You know, it's for Celtic fans to listen. I can't remember there being such an outcry when, and I'm going to show you a picture of a pitch invasion where Celtic fans took over the whole pitch. Now, this was scenes. Let's see if we can get away with this. Let's just see. Pictures of it. I'm going to get a video. Now, this picture. I can't remember at the time a media outcry. There was no social media back then. It was before social media. I've got to leave that comment up to put it into perspective. But I do not recall by any media outlets. It's a bad picture, but you get the gist. This was the day that Celtic stopped the 10. There was a major invasion of the pitch. The whole stadium, people from the top tier came onto the pitch that day. It was unbelievable. It wasn't just a few fans, it was thousands of fans. Thousands of fans went onto the pitch that day. But I do not remember a massive media meltdown about the fact that Celtic fans did go into the pitch that day. It's a very modern day thing because everybody can have their instant say and everybody can have their instant dissatisfaction on a situation, and especially with social media. And to the woman that messaged me on Facebook giving me absolute pelters on a story, I still no idea what you're ranting about. Don't know, it was crazy. But anyway, let's jump back into the summer. Would love Martin O'Neill to stay, but would hate it if his health was affected. When you look at, he's looked a bit shattered the last few weeks. He has been, do you know? Don't miss out Sriracha for the second goal. The lad made the goal. He did that. When Hatate came first to Celtic with Rodgers, he was scoring for fun. He came on the range. If you're going to give somebody 45 to 50 million rebuild for the next 4 or 5 seasons as a set thing in stone, it may as well be Martin O'Neill. He'll probably do only another season anyway. I don't think that you would give. Would it be the right thing to give Martin O'Neill that kind? Listen, the boards wouldn't give Martin O'Neill that kind of money. I've got to say that the board wouldn't give Martin O'Neill money back in 2003, 2004, 2005. Martin O'Neill wanted Celtic to push the boat out after getting to Seville. Didn't happen. Everybody thought that Martin O'Neill was going to leave that next season because he wasn't too happy, but they ended up staying on another season. All the talk back in the season before Martin O'Neill left was the fact that Gordon Strachan was going to come in that summer. The summer before, he did actually come in. No, everybody was expecting Martin O'Neill to leave. I think it would be the cheap option for the board to say, yeah, Martin, going to stay for another year and help us rebuild the team a bit. It's a stick and plaster stuff. I think it would be something that would ultimately upset the fans, and it could be something that would. Listen, he's built himself a legacy. 20 odd years apart, winning the league at Celtic. That itself, when you look at the people like Sean Maloney talking about Martin O'Neill after the game yesterday, and Sean Maloney asked, do you think that he'll stay on? And Sean Maloney said, I'd love him to stay on, but it's going to be hard talking into it. Must be fish or dolphins. Cool. Hatate chucked it, pure and simple, and he's moved on for his own sake and as well as ours. Dyson has done enough at the important part of the season. Hatate looked disinterested all season. I don't think I trust anyone else to do it now, to be honest. It's interesting. You will get a lot of fans. Now, remember when Martin O'Neill came back in the end of in January, the 4th or 5th, 6th of January, when Martin O'Neill came back, and we were still in Europe at the time. And Martin O'Neill said at the time, it doesn't matter what I do, I could get to the Europa final, I could win a double at Celtic, I could win a treble. Doesn't matter what I do, I will not be staying here after the end of the season. He knew it was just a stopgap. I think for the fairy tale that is about Celtic, the fairy tale of Martin O'Neill coming back and achieving such a wonderful, wonderful achievement and winning the league for the 56th time. It was written in the stars for him to do it. But I think that the club need to move forward, because we're not just putting on the manager for the next season. Next season, we're going for 6 in a row. Now, I'm not being funny, but the last time that we were going for 6 in a row, it got a little bit exciting and everyone will start looking forward to the 9. Yes, people will say it's bad for Scottish football if Celtic are hell bent on reaching the 10. Here's the thing for you. Would you like Martin O'Neill, this should have been a poll question, would you like Martin O'Neill to stay for one season and he maybe loses the league next season? Or would you rather change manager and push on to try and win the 10? There is no guarantee of doing it, but if you can bring in a top class manager that can build from the ground up at Celtic, because that's what we really need. We need someone that's going to go in and say, right, I want these academy boys to thrive at Celtic. That's one of the hardest decisions that we're going to make as well, because Brendan Rodgers was allegedly, I bring through youth. No, you don't. You chase them all away. You never give them a pathway. We need someone at Celtic. Now, maybe that person is already at Celtic, Sean Maloney, to work closely with the manager, the next manager, and everyone's been talking about the importance of youth. One of the biggest things that came out yesterday for me is the respect that Callum McGregor has from the squad, from the players, and even ex-players like Scott Brown. The respect that Callum McGregor has from within inside Celtic is something that he does not have from the fan base. There's a big lot of the fan base would love Callum McGregor to bugger off this summer and go and join his pal over in Sheikland. When you have a player like Kieran Tierney stating on live television that Callum McGregor is the best captain for the club, the only person that should be captain for the club, because people don't understand what Callum McGregor does in the background for the club, for the players. And I thought that was a touching moment yesterday, because Kieran Tierney is the player that came through the system and went away down south, went and played in Spain and all the rest of it. But for him to come out and give such, and hold Callum in such high regard, for me, and Scott Brown did it yesterday as well. Scott Brown's been doing it over the past couple of days. It just shows you as fans, and even Callum said in an interview, when we get beat, people come up to me in the street and said, "What are you doing about it?" They're putting the pressure on him. He knows that he has the pressure. He has to accept the good times and the bad times. People will say, "Well, where was he when Wilfred Nancy was in the house?" That's a different conversation altogether. Right, let's jump back into some of the comments. Dyson's done enough important goals this season. I don't think I'll trust anyone else to do it. It was some title to win. Let's be real. We have different mentality in all aspects. What a time to be alive. Double whammy pending to shut them right up. I take great pleasure in admitting that in December, I was wrong. I didn't think that I was going to... I didn't think... This was before Martin O'Neill came back. And in December, I said that I didn't think that Celtic would win the title. I thought Hearts were going to be too far in front. I thought the goal difference was going to have an impact. I didn't expect Wilfred Nancy to be given the bullet after 33 days. I didn't expect when we dropped points in games under Martin O'Neill for us to still be in with a shout on the last day of the season. When you look at it like that, Hearts are the one that threw away the league. Celtic didn't throw away the league. Celtic weren't given a helping hand by VAR, as the narrative is in the Scottish media. And when you go into social media, it's like, well, it's a tainted title. You have people saying it's a tainted title for a team that went into liquidation and died due to winning tainted titles, strangely enough. And their obsession with Celtic, when they were playing yesterday, was off the scale. That's all I've heard. Celtic winning the league isn't good for Scottish football. Time for Celtic to spend some serious money on the squad. Do you know what would be funny? If Celtic do use this year to lay down the marker, to bring in a manager. Do you know, there's various managers that we've been linked with that would be deemed as elite managers in the making. If Celtic put down a marker, now you've got to say that money doesn't buy you success. Just ask Rangers Football Club, 2012. They spent £40 million last year on players. 40 million. And went through various managers and fell apart towards the end of the season. We need to bring in a manager that can see the benefit of a youth system that will benefit the club for years to come. A manager that will be... we all know that the manager has a difficult position when he comes to Celtic. He's up against it from day one. He's expected to win the league. You're not given enough time to say, there's a couple of young players in the academy that look as if they might be a cracking addition to the squad in 2 years' time. You're not given 2 years' time at Celtic. You're not given 6 weeks at Celtic. If you're not doing it within the first month, you're out the door. So the next manager that comes in has to have the balance between building a squad that is capable of retaining the league. I think that we should drop the chat of trebles now should be put on the back burner. The main emphasis now should be getting better in a European stage, should be getting better in the Champions League, way to be a regular occurrence when it comes to Champions League football. I want Celtic Park to become a fortress again. There's a lot of other things to be ironed out with the Celtic support. In a couple of days' time, Willie Hawkey and Paul McStay will sit in front of Celtic fan media in Glasgow and talk about their proposal to Celtic fans, the 54,000 season ticket holders, to join and sign up to Willie Hawkey's proposal to invest £10 million in shares, for that then to be in a trust for the Celtic fans to have a voice on the board. Is a voice on the board just enough? The decisions will still be made by Dermot Desmond and his son Ross. They are not going to be selling their shares anytime soon. It would take over £100 million to buy out Dermot Desmond. He is not looking to sell his shares anytime soon. He has categorically said that, they'll be handed down to my son, and he'll take over my shareholding in the club. Then there's the issue of, what did the fans do against the board protest that they've had over the course of the season? Season ticket renewals are up just now. There will be an uptake on season ticket renewals this week because we've gotten into the playoff place for the Champions League. Celtic will see a little spike this week. There will be still people that will hold off due to the fact that they will wait to see who the manager is going to be. Celtic have around about 2 weeks before the deadline to announce the manager's position. It'll be interesting to see what they say and who they bring in. Lennon attacked at Tyneside, get it right up you. Maida's a special player. He's going to be a big miss. He's going to be a massive miss. I think the only godsend for the next manager is that we're going to have Jota coming back, and Jota's going to be like a new player, a new signing for the next Celtic manager. He's going to be like someone fresh in the door. But the benefit of Jota coming back is he knows the club inside out. He knows what it means to win for the club. He gets the club. He will be ecstatic to be back on the pitch. So it means that we need to go out and bring in at least another good first team starter winger. And then we need to look at the striker position. It was interesting to see Big Tam the Czech at Celtic Park yesterday, picking up his winner's medal. Is that an indication on the way that Celtic are going in the summer? Are they going to retain Kelechi Iheanacho? Are they going to put in the offer for Tam, the Czech, that we thought had checked out because of his injury? It's interesting. I'm going to jump back into some of the comments this morning. That was after the final whistle had blown. Big difference. A game-halting pitch invasion. I don't think it was a game-halting pitch invasion. The referee has confirmed that he blew the whistle after the goal went in. There was no time. There was 10 seconds to be added on. The referee didn't think that there was any point. Don't know. 10, 15, 20 seconds. Come on. There was 8 minutes added on in extra time. Celtic got it over the line, and that's it. Let's get back to football. Makes it a miracle of Martin O'Neill even more special. We actually won the game yesterday by playing Nancy ball. What a beautiful day, waking up this morning, nothing to worry about. Come on the hoops, magic, 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 love my club, hail, hail. Toss up, if we win the cup or lose, to put them in the Conference League. Would you accept... It's a very Celtic scenario, isn't it? It's I mean, it would be fantastic for the town of Dunfermline. I'm not going to deny it. Being a Fifer, and Scott Brown stayed and lived just on the outskirts of Dunfermline. So even he would say that it would be great for them, but he doesn't like Dunfermline supporters either, let's be honest. They give him enough stick when he used to go out in Dunfermline. And in his younger days, would it be a great thing for the game for Celtic to have a bit of an off day in Dunfermline to win the league? Or do the players just go, no, we want it? I think it'll all be about the attitudes of the players. You know, Martin O'Neill can take the plaudits. Martin O'Neill can take the, be the legend. And one of the funniest parts yesterday is when doing their victory tour around Celtic Park, when Martin O'Neill walks up to the Green Brigade and he's waving to them, and he thought he was never going to see the Green Brigade or manage Celtic when the Green Brigade were there. This was a new experience for him as a manager, and he went over to the corner and thank you. But then the players kind of pushed Martin O'Neill forward and said, no, you have to do the Kyogo thing. You have to do the dancing thing. And Martin O'Neill was very reluctant to do it. And it was good to see that the players were in full voice. And then Kieran Tierney going over to the Green Brigade and getting the megaphone and having a little... It just reminds me of the young Kieran Tierney coming through the system, and he knows players like him get the club. For all the stick that he got at the beginning of the season, he's never going to see the season out. Well, there's Kieran Tierney. I can't remember him being out injured for any length of time this season. He has completed a full season at Celtic. Yes, his game time has been managed. A lot of people say that he can't reach out, he can't do a full 90 minutes. I think when it's a modern game and it's a squad game, I think it's imperative that you have people like Kieran Tierney, you have people like Sirachi. Will Celtic get the deal done for Sirachi? If they get the deal done for Sirachi, it looks like that we're not going to see... with Alistair Johnson still being at the club, it doesn't look like we're going to see a little Mexican friend. If Celtic lost, it would have gave them a kick up the arse they needed. Not going to lie, I think the managers think we can buy a law and still win. Not how it works, unfortunately. Watched it with my 7-year-old daughter. She's definitely got the Celtic bug. A wonderful day spoiled by a few hundred idiots. And that's just the ones that went onto the pitch. Celtic fan media channels, a lot of the fans done more damage to our season than any manager. The Celtic fan media channels and a lot of the fans done more damage to our season than... Really? That's interesting. That is interesting. I mean, calling the board out. When you think back to the 1990s, I don't know what your name is. It's when Celtic fans stood against the board and protested against the board and numbers, boycotted games and such like, at a time where there was a lack of investment in the club. There's been a lack of investment in the club just now. Now, I think everyone knows my thoughts. I don't class myself as Celtic fan media. I'm just a YouTuber. Don't know. Some people may say that I am Celtic fan media, but I don't think I am. When these Celtic fan media have a vested interest in Celtic for their own reason, but I don't think that they've done more damage to our season than any other manager. You've got to remember that there was 255 Celtic fans missed out on 30 odd games over the course of the season, banned by the club. So banned by the hierarchy of the club. That can't go unnoticed. That can't go unchallenged. If you're saying that the Celtic fan media should not challenge the narrative of the club, what's the point of Celtic fan media? What is the point of them going into Celtic Park and having the opportunity? The whole point that Celtic invited Celtic fan media into press conferences, and let's not change the narrative of this. Celtic brought fan media into press conferences because they were fed up of the narrative being changed by the mainstream media. Celtic wanted to use and play the Celtic fan media for their own good, to make sure that the correct information was put out and it wasn't twisted for their own use. You're now saying that the same fan media that are the ones that are doing the damage because they're asking awkward questions, and I think that's what all being about a fan's about. I don't know. It is an interesting one. Interesting. Tell me your thoughts on that in the comments. Have Celtic fan media channels and a lot of fans done more damage to our club this season than any manager? More than Wilfred Nancy? Wilfred Nancy, I mean, some of these fan media channels tried to talk up Wilfred Nancy on his stats, on what he'd achieved in the game. I mean, he wasn't my first choice as manager, Wilfred Nancy, but I definitely looked at what he'd achieved, and you could understand why Celtic went down the road of appointing someone of Wilfred Nancy's calibre. He'd got to the American version of the Champions League final with his club. He managed Alistair Johnston. He made Alistair Johnston the player that he was to get the move to Celtic. But it is an interesting one. It's all about opinions, and I do appreciate your opinion. Can we do a poll about who we thought we would win the league back in January? I'll be honest, I didn't. You'll get a lot of people won't tell the truth if I was to do that poll. You'd get about 90% of people going, That definitely said we were winning the league. I told you we were winning the league. I didn't think we were winning the league back in January. But yeah. Team who did their own COVID testing in a zoo in Belfast. Yeah, they did that, and the monkeys the monkeys died. Celtic have always had strong captains, Baz. Many of them had different styles of play, but nonetheless, they all had Celtic at heart. And it was do you know what was great about yesterday was Roy Aitken coming out, one of, in my books, one of the best captains for Celtic, only because I met him on so many occasions as a youngster, not realising that he'd gone to be a magnificent Celtic captain, because he wasn't Celtic captain at the time when I frequented his presence at Celtic Park on many occasions. But anyway, it was great to see him and Scott Brown. It was great to see Scott Brown in the tunnel with the players, waiting for the players to come out, and a lot of the players that Scott played with, you know, and a lot of the younger players that Scott's seen coming through the academy, players that Scott would have coached. You've got to remember that there was a time under Brendan Rodgers that Scott Brown actually went into the academy and the youth setup and was actually taking games and training them as part of his coaching. And it was Brendan Rodgers that pulled a stop to it, because Brendan Rodgers said, look, mate, you need to, I want you to be able to do this, and I want you to do it, but for the longevity of your career, I want you to rest. You know, he felt that he was doing the training sessions, and Bruni, with all the energy that he had at the time, you know, he would have kept on doing both quite easily. But Brendan Rodgers wanted Bruni to take a step back from that coaching side, because he felt that, you know, him not getting home till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night and then getting up for training was going to have too much of an effect on his ability when it comes to a game time. You know, it's all about rest and recuperation. But anyway, it's a toss-up if we win the cup or lose, to put them in the Conference League. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Yeah, and a wonderful day spoiled by a few hundred. I've supported Celtic from the 80s through the ups and downs. This is the icing on the cake after everything and all the doubters and all the haters. Exactly, mate. I've supported them since I was a kid in the 70s, and I can remember there's a picture of me as a very, very young kid standing in my front garden, with my Celtic strip on, and yeah, I was so young back then. Absolutely brilliant. Going to jump through some of the comments. We've been on for ages, and there's a load of comments. There's a couple of super chats came in. Megan Diamond, KT is our next captain. We'd be safe in his hands. Also, did you see Donovan fight with Hart? Fight with the Hart player before going down the tunnel. I'm staying away from all that nonsense. And Ray coming in from the other side of the planet. Thanks your channel this season. Baz, always look forward to watching when I get the chance. Hail, says Ray, who's coming in from the other side of the planet. Thank you for that, both of you. Great supporters of the channel, as you all are. Big thank you. I've got to say, what a bloody season. I think I'm going to go live tonight around about 8 o'clock Celtic Park time, and I'm going to do a recap of the season. We kind of went through it a little bit the other day, but just to take away from the craziness of what has happened over this season, and the fact that Celtic have still became champions in May. Heartstar reveals teammate left bloodied after acting as a human shield as he breaks silence in the Celtic chaos. Oh, here we go. I'm not even going to look at social media today. I've got to be perfectly honest about it. Right, I'm going to jump to the end of the comments. Apologise if I haven't read your comments out. Chris Boyd didn't want to comment yesterday because he knew we were going to be champions. Well done as Celtic. People saying good morning. Used to stand in the old school at Celtic Park and wait on the Lisbon lines to get their autographs as they parked their cars. What a journey. Baz, you should go live at 6 p.m. UK time. Okay then. 6 p.m. UK time. We'll go live at 6 p.m. UK time. Have fart soiled the open top bus decor yet? Don't know. 72 for my first against Motherwell. I think we got beat, and brother said I wasn't to go again. Another drink along to be arranged, Baz. Still buzzing from yesterday. I only had one glass of wine during the whole game yesterday. Give McKenna no. Let's not talk about him. It's over and done. It's done and dusted as far as I'm concerned. The league has been won. The outcry from the pitch invasion will go on for about a week or so. And then once the dust settles, it'll be all about Celtic in the next few days. Once the dust settles, it'll all be about the Celtic fans going to Hampden Park once again. Once again, can Celtic do a double? And to think about it, if the Celtic board hadn't been so hasty, Martin O'Neill could have been on the verge of becoming a treble-winning manager over 20 years apart. That, my friend, would have been absolutely unbelievable. But the fact that he has won the league 22 years apart is something to be... There was one picture. Where did it go? I'm actually just watching a video. I mean, why was there any need for... I'm not even going to comment on it. I wasn't there. There's a video on social media about the police that decided to just get their shields out and everything. Mental. Anyway, right, that is me done and dusted for this morning. Jesus, there's been over 3,500 people on this morning. I could keep on going, don't I? Just thank you to everyone who has been on the live this morning. I will go live again at 6 p.m. Celtic part-time. Catch up with any headlines that are out there and any complete, utter craziness. The meltdowns will continue. The history has continued. And I'll tell you one thing. What a day to be a Celtic supporter. I thought it would be a hard game. It was a hard game. Hearts took the lead. Celtic get a goal back just before half time. I didn't think that we would, but we did. And then ultimately, Hearts throw everybody forward in the last minute of the game to try and steal a goal. That would have made them champions. If Hearts had scored for that corner, it would have been a different story. But they didn't. And they left no one up the park. 3 Celtic players run forward. The fastest, the youngest of them all, Callum Osmond, will always be remembered as the one who won the league, the 56th title for Celtic. Just like Harold Brackback is still remembered all these years later for the player that stopped at the 10. Callum Osmond will have a fantastic career in front of him now as an absolute legend forever. The pace that young boy's got, and he just slipped it into an empty net. It's probably the easiest goal that he'll ever score. He did have the opportunity around about 10-15 minutes before where a header went wide of the goal. It was kind of bulleted by Dyson Maeda, but you've got to say, it was an absolutely fantastic day. What a dream to make a reality. That's the final top. No. That's the Naom's getting the final one. Top of my world. My top of my world. 56 titles untainted. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. And I absolutely love every single one of you that have decided to jump on this morning. I'll see you later on today.